They say that you only get one chance to make a first impression. So I ask you, what kind of impression does this place make? Well, it certainly made a hell of an impression on me. So there I am standing there, not far beneath the surface of the planet, but deep enough to feel like I'm on another planet. Where am I, you ask? Just watch and you'll find out. Good morning. I'm here in Yogyakarta and I'm about to set off to Jomblang Cave. This is a cave that's situated about an hour and a half away from Yogyakarta. And it's this beautiful cave that sits underneath the ground. The ceiling has collapsed and it allows light into the cave, and it just casts this beautiful light on this stone in this cave, and it looks really heavenly. You know, it looks like something straight out of Indiana Jones, and we're gonna go check that out today. So if you're ready, let's go. Located in almost the center of the island of Java, Indonesia is Jomblang Cave. Now this cave is a must for anyone into canyoning. The hike to this cave is not an excruciatingly demanding one, but it does require you be in some form of shape that allows you to hike up a medium grade hill. As I already mentioned, it's about an hour and a half drive to the cave, and it's mostly paved roads. The last 2 kilometers are on an unpaved road.
Oh, bumpy road.
Once we arrived, it was time to get suited up. As you can see here, the staff is getting the equipment ready for their guests. So made it to Jomblang Cave and we're about to get suited up so we can rappel down this, well actually we're not rappelling, we'll get hoisted down this apparatus. It looks a bit sketchy. Should be interesting. So let's talk about this thing they use to hoist people down into the cave. This apparatus sits on the edge of a giant hole that leads into the cave. It's about 60 meters down to the bottom. Now that's high enough to be terminal should anything go wrong. First impression of this apparatus is it looks a little bit rusty. Perhaps we should take a closer look. This is the workhorse of the whole system. The key element to how it works is friction and resistance. The rope is connected to a series of pulleys that aids in allowing the person to be lowered. A quick look over the edge is enough to cast doubts in anyone as to whether or not this is a good idea. Now let's take a look at their fail-safe system. Rope, knot, carabiner. Rope to knot, carabiner. Rope, some more rope, even more rope, a little more rope, to a double knot, carabiner. Looks pretty safe. After all, they got carabiners. So now it was time for me to get suited up. They strap you in pretty snug into your harness. I guess they want to be sure you don't slip out. We were ready for insertion. But before that could happen, we needed a good old-fashioned safety briefing. Did you catch any of that? Neither did I. All I heard were the words, going down, rope, and pulley system. Safety briefings are overrated anyway. I've been hooked up to my harness, and I must say, it's rather tight, rather snug. This harness isn't really adjustable, so I had to suck it in while the guy strapped me in. So this should be interesting going down this hoist. These 2 girls would be the first people to be inserted into the hole. But before they could send them down, the staff had to go down first. Once the staff was down, the girls were next. Despite what I said earlier, the staff at Jomblang Cave took seemingly exceptional caution when it came to ensuring nothing went wrong lowering down the guests. When they were ready, they got the girls in position and lowered them down. You can tell that the owners stressed the importance of safety to their people. The first wave of people were on their way into the cave. As you can see here, This guy's sole responsibility was getting everyone down safely.
Going down that hole.
Once they got the people down safely, they pulled the rope back up and started again. Then it was my turn to go down. I waited while they strapped me in, and then I was on my way.
Okay, this is definitely different than Lost World, where you rappelled yourself down. This one, you're getting automatically rappelled down by a bunch of men. It's a pleasant ride. It's a little rough on the crown jewels, if you know what I mean.
When I got to the bottom, I had to wait for the others to get lowered into the hole before we could venture off into the cave. It seemed to take about 30 or 40 minutes to get the entire group down. Once everyone was down, we were ready to explore. The mouth of the cave is just as mysterious as the actual inside. The excitement built for all of us as we made our way towards the opening. I had no idea how messy the trek into the cave was going to be, but it was well worth it. Me and the guy behind me were the only vloggers in the group. We made up the tail end because we were busy shooting video and commenting on our experience. As I already mentioned, the trek was a messy one. That was because the closer we got to the cave, the muddier it became. It rains a lot in Indonesia, and all of that rain trickles down into the cave. While I waited, I took a few minutes to look up and admire the hole I descended into. Looking down into the cave, I could see that I still had a ways to go. Everyone was taking their time because the path was extremely slippery. I was making a deliberate effort not to twist my ankle. The trek was already painful enough. Almost there, everyone became pretty excited to go inside the cave. Just had a few more meters down and the hard part would be over. Each step brought us deeper into the cave. From the top, the hole didn't look nearly as deep. Words can't express how painful this part was for my ankle, but I tried not to think about the pain as I made my way down. I just kept telling myself that I was almost there. And before I knew it, I was. I successfully managed to get to the bottom. The next step was into the cave. The cave was massive, so there was plenty of room to walk around. As I made my way into the cave, I got out my flashlight. The cave is not extremely long, and you could certainly get by without one, but it's always a good idea to have a light source when exploring a cave, no matter how short it is. Most people didn't have a light. As I went farther, I turned around and looked back at the opening of the cave.
Definitely gonna have to rinse these off when I'm done.
A few minutes later, we were at the end and saw the first signs of light that we had seen in about 10 minutes. The light was unlike anything that I had seen before. The way it scattered across the cave made it seem like I was in a dream state. We made our way closer to the opening for a better look. The closer I got, the slipperier the path became, so I treaded lightly with my sore ankle. And then I got to the opening, and I entered the world of the surreal.
Man, this is incredible. I feel like I'm in a Indiana Jones movie. This place is just so amazing. I mean, look at this. Look at the light coming in from the top of this sinkhole. This is so surreal. I totally have to go stand on that rock right there. Tell me that rock doesn't look like it's inviting me to stand on it. I totally have to stand on that.
So, let's talk about that rock right there. The shape of the rock was solely created by the water constantly pouring down on it. It's estimated to be 1,000 years in the making, and it's still a work in progress. The thing I found most interesting about the rock was that it was two-faced. By that I mean, it looks completely different on the other side. The water that pours down on it is from the rain collected on the surface. It never lets up, so the rock is always being shaped by the water. On the other side, the rock has a completely different look. It almost takes on a look similar to that of marble. And then there are the rays of light that cast down into the cave that makes it look so heavenly. Anyway, back to standing on that rock. Of course, doing so came at a price. It required me to get soaked by all the water falling from the top of the hole. But I didn't care. It was an experience like no other. And then it was time for me to make my way out of the cave. Off in the distance, you could see the light coming from the entrance. The light only shines in the cave between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. After that, things get pretty dark. After successfully exiting the cave, I waited my turn to be extracted from the hole. There were quite a few of us, so it took some time to get us all out. When it was my turn to be pulled out, it took roughly a minute or two to get hoisted up to the top. The view was incredible, and this part was definitely one of the highlights of the entire trip. This was my vantage point of being hoisted up, but on the back end, it was a whole different story. Of course, it takes more than one person to pull a group up out of a hole in a timely manner. Here's what it looks like on the back end. To pull you out, they go old school by using good old-fashioned manpower. I inquired about the guys performing this job. I was told for 2 hours work at the cave, they earned the same as a typical Indonesian working a 9-to-5 job. Jomblang Cave is an awesome experience. Everybody should do this. You will not be disappointed. Just know that you will get dirty, because I am filthy. So keep in mind, I'm about to go in a cave. One thing you never do when you go into a cave is you don't forget your flashlight, because you always need a flashlight. Unfortunately, this one is dodgy. When the light heats up, it starts flickering, and then it's virtually no good. So hopefully the cave isn't that long, so we won't run into that situation. Hello!
Hello!
What's your name?
Hanifa.
Halifa, Tina, Masiham, Marcel, Sahir, CJ. Yeah, nice to meet you. Bye.
Bye.